A very warm welcome and a good evening. Thank you for joining me on Uctv News. It is the 11th February 2025. My name is Nora Sende to bring you the bulletin this evening. We're starting off with the Uganda National Examination Board that has released the results of the Uganda Certificate of Education at the State House in Nakasero in the presence of the Minister of Education and Sports, Honorable Janet Kataya Museveni. The release of the UCE 2024 results marks the first cohort of assessed under the competency-based examination, which emphasizes holistic assessment measuring students' competencies in cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains.
Now I'm delighted to be presenting to you the results of two sets of UCE examinations: the transitional examination and the first examination conducted under the new competency-based curriculum. Now, the year 2024 was therefore a very busy year. The transitional examination was based on the now defunct UCE curriculum and did not present any unique problems, apart from competing for time. However, the competence-based curriculum has been a completely new experience, and the board was treading on new ground with each step taken. We had to contend with skepticism from some sections of the public, wondering whether UNEP would deliver the results. Mama, this is understandable, since as a country we are for the first time all going through this fundamental paradigm shift in our education system. Any new change, no matter how positive, will always have its doubters, skeptics, pessimists, and even conspiracy theorists.
177,133, or 49.3%, were males, while 182,284, or 50.7%, were females. 38.1% were beneficiaries of the USE program, and 61.9% were non-UPE. Mama, a total of 357,120, or 99.4%, were present for this examination, and only 2,297, or 0.6%, were absent. Mama, we observe that this is the lowest rate of absenteeism ever, and this is a very good sign that more and more of our children who come to this class stay on until they take the examination. As mentioned above, the format of reporting performance under the competency-based curriculum differs significantly from the old curriculum. Performance is reported by achievement levels indicated by letter grades A, B, C, D, and E. And Mama, I'm showing in the table the achievement levels and the descriptors, trying to explain to us what each level means. The achievement level for each subject is arrived at from the scores generated from the assessment of competencies at the school level, that is through the continuous assessment, and the scores from the competencies that are assessed in the final end of cycle. And as I said earlier on, they are in the ratio of 20% continuous assessment and 80% from the end of cycle examination. The grade A, the achievement level is described as exceptional. And a candidate who has this grade A and is an exceptional candidate or learner is that person who demonstrates an extraordinary level of competency by applying innovatively and creatively the acquired knowledge and skills in real life situations. The one that is at grade B, the achievement level is described as outstanding. And that candidate demonstrates a high level of competency by applying the acquired knowledge and skills in real-life situations. Mama, the common denominator in all these is application of knowledge and skills in real-life situations. That's why that phrase is repeated at all assessment levels.
The National Unity Platform has officially endorsed City Lawyer Elias Luyimbazi Nalukola as the flag bearer for the Kawempe North by-election after securing 71.4% of the vote in the party primaries. Nalukola emerged victorious in a competitive race that featured 9 other aspirants, including Umar Magala with 52.8% and Mohamed Luze with 35.8%, a former aide of the late Mohamed Sejerinya. Now, the announcement was made by the new Electoral Commission Chairperson Masi Walukamba, will now represent NUP in the by-election scheduled for the March of 13th, where the party is widely seen as the favorite to retain the seat.
Victor's crown, we shall wear the victor's crown. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown in the new Uganda.
Being in the first position is Council Luyimbazi Nalukola.
People power, our power. Kale basawo ne banyabo kansabe tukubire akakiiko kaffe mu ngalo ez'amaanyi okulaba nga bagusiza process yaabwe kambasabe muddeyo.
Your Excellency the President, dear your deputies, our Secretary General, the entire leadership of the party, my colleagues, comrades, dear contenders, dear brothers who are here with whom have been contesting for this ticket, I've not forgotten members of parliament, the foot soldiers, the people of Kawempe North constituency. Ladies and gentlemen, I observe protocol. Greetings to you all. I wish to express my heartfelt appreciation to the National Unity Platform for placing trust in me to be the flag bearer and all candidates in the forthcoming Kawempe North by-election. Mr. President, to my fellow aspirants who stood in the race with passion and integrity, your dedication has strengthened our party. I also wish to thank the party under the leadership of His Excellency President Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu and the Election Management Committee for conducting this unique and historical exercise. My family, our supporters, well-wishers, and the people of Kawempe North who have walked this journey with us, sincerely, your belief in our mission propels our determination. While many of you might see this as an opportunity, for me, it is a challenge to serve, a challenge to represent and stand with the people of Kawempe North and the majority of Ugandans facing the wrath of General Museveni's 39 years of misrule and dictatorship. Dear President, comrades, this is not a privilege, but rather a trial. It is demonstrated in 3 ways, Mr. President. First, it is a trial to enhance our unity as a party, embody our brand as the National Unity Platform, and work the values we preach. The vetting process has been intense to us, the contestants, and even amongst you, our supporters. I believe everybody here and out there had a candidate and wished him to win this ticket. I must play a fundamental role in working with them to face our adversaries as a unified force. United we stand, divided we fall, ladies and gentlemen.
The Appointments Committee of Parliament has vetted Dr. Michael Atingengo and Professor Augustus Nwagaba for the positions of Governor and Deputy Governor of the Bank of Uganda, respectively. During the vetting session held at Parliament, the 2 candidates responded to questions from the committee members. The committee report is expected to be tabled before Parliament for final approval.
Inflation has been stable. It's just only that in the month of January, headline inflation went up to about 3.9, if I'm not mistaken, and core up to 4.2. And we think that into 2025, inflation is going to be anywhere between 4 to 5%. And this is consistent with the growth target that we are looking at in the medium term of 6 to 7%. Because certainly if you are going to have higher growth, you need a little bit of inflation to support that growth. We have been having 3%, 3 to 3.8%. Growth was trending below 6%. But our medium term objective is 6 to 7%. So we are kind of like allowing inflation to ease up consistent with that growth. Remember, the government objective for the inflation is 5%. So we're gradually moving towards the 5%, which is what we think will sustain growth going forward. Enforce cybersecurity guidelines in the whole financial sector. And then, of course, also we need to enhance our risk management frameworks, given the fact that risks and vulnerabilities are evolving by the day. So we need to keep up so that we really ensure that our systems, our operations are well protected. Important also, we need to look at what's happening in the global economy. There are lots of uncertainties that are unfolding, which are going to have impact on the domestic economy. So we have to be innovative. We have to be able to anticipate what's going to happen and take the proper policy response to mitigate any possible adverse consequences for us. So to me, those are the
Now, the government of Uganda and the Republic of Somalia have signed a joint communique to enhance defense cooperation between the 2 nations. The signing took place at the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs headquarters, that's in Imboya here in Kampala, during a meeting between the Ugandan Minister for Defense and Veteran Affairs, Honorable Jacob Oboth, and his Somali counterpart, His Excellency Mohamed Noor. Now, Minister Noor was in Uganda for a 2-day working visit on the invitation of Honorable Oboth, who reaffirmed Uganda's commitment to supporting Somalia's security and stability.
So we shall continue, Uganda as Uganda. I speak for Uganda and the Uganda People's Defense Forces and the Ministry of Defense. Our force, as UPDF, has been there for the last 17 years, probably the first African or any other military intervening country that came in when nobody else would imagine. We treasure the sacrifices of our own soldiers and the commitment, the Pan-Africanism that they have exhibited in trying to liberate Somalia. So we hope that every single contribution that Uganda is making is to pacify and liberate that part of the country. We are moved as your PDF is moved by the spirit of Pan-Africanism. What affects Somalia or any other part of Africa affects us. We may not be immediate neighbors, but we are neighbors because we are in Africa. And we are inspired by our Commander-in-Chief and the President to have that lens. That is the ideology we thrive in relation to our foreign policies and interventions.
We know how the leadership of Uganda is really working on the Pan-Africanism, and the spirit of Pan-Africanism which gives us the courage that the Somali people today is working on to liberate themselves from the terrorist groups. And your team, those are there, including the embassy, the military, and all the team, those are there really is helping Somalia to go through this problem, to solve their problems. And we are thankful for that. I visited here today, as you said, our leadership decided to have a technical meeting today, and I'm sure that the technical team already did their best. We will hear from them, but for all, I want to thank you, your esteemed office, for the wonderful welcoming. Always when we come to Kampala, I feel home. I'm at home, and the weather is very good. It is treating us very well, and the protocol team, give us very comfortable situations, and we are thankful for that, your office and your team, the reception that we have been given to us. And thank you very much. Over to you, General Sir.
The communique, and then this is a joint one, and also really the summation of what brought us today, concluding the visits, the 2-day visit by the Minister of Defense from Somalia, giving effect to the recent visit by the President of Somalia to our President. So all is contained here to further strengthen and deepen our bilateral relations. Thank you.
Thank you.
UCTV now takes a quick break. When we return, there's lots more to come.
UCTV, good news for all.
Radio Patches, the best value-based community radio in Eastern Africa, running 24/7 with professional staff and solar energy backup of up to 500 kilowatts peak. We rock the whole of northern Uganda and the world using 7 languages on 90.9 FM and 94.5 FM in Arua on Ediofe Hill, 99.7 FM at Moyo on Adua Hill, 101.4 FM at Fogod in Gulu, and online at www.radiopatches.org or download the Radio Patches app from Google Play Store and Apple Store. Radio Patches, peace of Christ for all.
Well, thank you so much for staying with us on UCTV News. Moving on, the Uganda Human Rights Commission has commenced countrywide tribunal sessions to hear complaints related to human rights violations. According to Pauline Namasaba Mutumba, speaking on behalf of the Director of Complaints, Investigations and Legal Services, the initiative aims to reduce the case backlog, which currently stands at 1,100 cases.
The Uganda Human Rights Commission has started off a session of hearing cases arising from our Central Regional Office here at our head office in Kampala. The session is going to last 3 days from today, 11th, until the 13th of February, and the Commission will be handling 17 cases in this particular session. 2 of those are for decision, which have already been issued today. As you heard, there was 1 case, Matovu Charles versus Attorney General, which was dismissed for want of a cause of action against the Attorney General. And the other case was Sergeant Byamgisha Felix versus Attorney General, which was decided in favor of the complainant on violation of his right to freedom from torture, inhuman and degrading treatment. The Uganda Human Rights Commission Tribunal deemed it worthy to offer him compensation of 25 million shillings for that violation of his right to freedom from torture. We will be continuing to hear other cases the rest of this week, and thereafter we will have sessions in Soroti, in Lira, in Gulu, and in Mbarara.
Maybe for clarity, who is to compensate this 25 million?
This decision was against the Attorney General in his vicarious capacity on behalf of the Uganda People's Defense Forces. So Sergeant Bamgisha was tortured by officers of the UPDF, and therefore our expectation is that the UPDF will be responsible for compensation, for this compensation. The reality is that because of several constraints, both administrative, financial, and human resource, we do have a delay in the hearing of our cases. As you're well aware, we had a period of almost 2 years without a chairperson, and so we could not sit tribunal sessions for almost 2 years. And when you compound that, because on average we hear 20 cases every time that we have a session. So you can imagine 20 cases, we hear cases every month. That compounds to almost 300 cases in a year. So if you don't have sessions for 2 years, that's about 600 cases that have gone unheard. And then we also have, we've had challenges with the financial resources. The resources that support these tribunal sessions come from the justice, law and order sector, which sends us those resources. So we are only able to have sittings once those resources are released. And you appreciate the delays that happen in government financial systems. Sometimes the money is released late, and so we are only able to do so much. And then the others are normal administrative and capacity issues, but we are working very hard to ensure that we address that. That is why we are aiming to have at least 2 tribunal session sittings every month, so that we can catch up with that. Currently we have about 1,100 cases that are pending hearing at the tribunal. So our anticipation is that if we are able to sit consistently over a period of 2.5 years, we should be able to clear the current backlog that we have.
Now, as Uganda prepares to commemorate the Wildlife Day that's on 3rd of March, the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities has raised concerns over continued financial shortfalls despite the sector's significant contribution to the national GDP. While addressing journalists in Kampala, Tourism Minister Tom Butime urged the government, Parliament and the Ministry of Finance to allocate more resources to the tourism industry, emphasizing its vital role in driving economic growth and sustainable development.
Despite the 5.5% GDP's contribution, the Ugandan tourism sector has registered a major financial blow, following a Uganda shillings 135 billion budget cut for the 2025-2026 financial year, reducing the allocation from shillings 311 billion in 2024-2025 to shillings 175.98 billion.
Financing has not received adequate investment despite the substantial economic benefits it offers, including significant contribution to employment and tourism revenues.
According to Tom Butime, the Minister for Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, the drastic funding cut is largely due to lack of understanding among national budget decision makers about the tourism industry's importance and its potential to drive economic growth.
Apparently, those who manage finance in Uganda are actually lagging behind in understanding and appreciating financing tourism and wildlife conservation. So it is a struggle, and we have to continue engaging, discussing, and making our friends, our brothers, those who manage finance, to understand and appreciate this very important factor.
On the other hand, the Executive Director of the Uganda Wildlife Authority, Samuel John Mwanda, acknowledged the human-wildlife conflict and urged people living near game parks to report incidents of wildlife attacks or damage to claim compensation.
We have now, in the law, establishing the Uganda Wildlife Authority a provision for compensation. Regulations have already been developed, and we are already in the process of providing compensation for those whose crops or livestock are injured or damaged, for those who get injury, and for those who die. We were able to provide the compensation, and as I speak, we have made compensations worth 2.5 billion Uganda shillings, and we still have lots more that we are considering.
In response to the declining wildlife populations, the launch of a 10-year national conservation strategy is part of the set of activities to be undertaken with the aim of promoting sustainable coexistence between humans and wildlife. This shall be part of the national commemoration of the World Wildlife Day, slated for 3rd March.
Lion conservation, actually the large carnivore conservation strategy that we'll be launching during the celebrations this year. That provides a number of things that we will do, including but not limited to improving our protection of the habitats.
This year's commemoration event shall be held in Lila District under the theme Wildlife Conservation Finance, Investing in People and Planet. Joseph Kabale, UCTV News.
Now, the government of Uganda has announced plans to develop the late Archbishop Janal Lumumba's burial site in Gwen Village into a national tourism site. The announcement was made by the Minister of Ethics and Integrity, Rose Lily Akello, during a joint media engagement with the Directorate for Ethics ahead of the annual Bishop Janal Lumumba Day that's on February 16th. The initiative is part of a broader effort to honor the late's legacy and boost tourism in the region.
The issue of having Muchwini Wigweng to be a tourist site is already there in the plan of government. And government and Church of Uganda are working together. And now Church of Uganda with the government are working to get a master plan, and their ministries which are supposed to work together, like the Ministry of Tourism is supposed to work with us on how to make Muchwini become a tourist site. We shall have that part of religious affairs where we can have our prayers, and then we shall have that part of tourism. So the plan is already there. Martyrdom provides a powerful message of forgiveness and reconciliation among all believers in God. Therefore, let us stand up in large numbers to honor, celebrate, and provide thanksgiving for this matter of the 20th century. I therefore invite all Ugandans to attend the 48th commemoration of St. Janal Lumumba Day on Sunday, the 16th February 2025 at Wigweng Muchwini in Kitgum District.
Ideas are not a monopoly of one person. Pastor Sempa, Madam, was speaking as an individual, not as government, and I think Parliament would be wasting its time to discuss the issue of marriage, because they have a lot of issues to discuss. Why at this time? Just because Pastor Sempa pronounced that people should be allowed? I think personally, because Pastor Sempa, I know him personally, he spoke from his past history. Because Pastor Sempa, I think, lost relationship, and therefore he's making that justification that he should be given another opportunity, like Pastor Bujingo. So these are personal decisions and past issues.
UCTV, good news for all.
You are watching UCTV, good news for all. For this and more, tune in to Kasese Get Radio 100.5 in Western Region, located at the hill of the Diocese of Kasese. KGR brings you all Catholic programs and an advertising platform in all our radio shows like Good Morning Renzori, Chama Tohoka, Ukute, the Business Show, Propeller, the Rico Show and Sports, Evaluation, Bahinga Bakuluka, Late Night Show, and many others. Our other services include Isuzu Tipa, a Noah car, public address system, live band, Omokekera, an audio recording studio, and outside live broadcast. For more information, call 0773 597 166 or visit our website www.kasesegatradio.com. Kasesegat Radio, Omusondoria, the voice of truth.
Let's now take a look at today in history. Well, and that marks the end of our news this evening. It has been nice having you on Uctv News this evening. I am Nora Sende. Do have yourself a lovely evening and a good night.